7:02, meeting called to order. Everybody state your name for the record. Lee Wessler's here.
Grace is here.
Jean Pillow is here.
Jim Kading.
Mara Roby is here.
Jason Allard.
Oh, cool. There you are, Jason. I was beginning to wonder.
Yeah, I made it today. Yep.
So
All right.
that's
Is muted.
members. And I don't think Ann's not a member yet. So,
Yes, she is.
but she is.
Yes. And I don't.
She's here. She just doesn't know how to hit her microphone. She's talking, but she doesn't realize.
Okay. Well, I did get the letter that she's in.
Okay.
But what I did say was I do not have her email.
Okay. We'll give it to you after the meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't get a letter though.
Yeah, we got one.
I did?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I got one.
Oh, I didn't see one.
Yeah, you got it. You're stuck now until 2031.
Yeah.
That sounds so far away.
Sounds like an eon.
It's only 5 years.
Okay, so do we have? So I'm lost. Do we have? Is somebody an alternate, or is everybody now a member who's on board? You know.
I'm a guest. This is Carl Cecil.
Yeah,
Ah,
Carl-
there he is. Yes.
Carl is a guest. Yes.
Yeah.
But who are any of us alternates?
No, everybody's.
Member.
Yeah. 1,
Okay,
2,
good.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we've got fine.
Okay.
Plenty.
And then Carl's here checking us out. Thank you for coming, Carl.
Yes.
Okay, so first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes. So is there any discussion, or does someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Don't everybody call out at once. I need to move on.
I'm not seeing the minutes.
Well,
Not saying you didn't send them. I put in your name and I didn't see the minutes come up.
yeah, well,
I'll move to approve.
thank you.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second Mara.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
I
Aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed or anyone abstaining? Okay. Moving on, we have treasurer's report.
Okay, it is unchanged, which means there is still $372.47 in the budget and $2,193.22 in special. And I might just add, if you come up with anything, now would be the time if we want to spend any more of this money before the end of the fiscal year, which will be June 30th.
have a question. When's the last time we paid for the website?
Say again?
When's the last time we paid for the website, or is Lori still paying for it?
No, she's not paying for it. I paid for it.
Okay, so you got reimbursed for it. I was just checking because she wasn't submitting the bills, as I recall.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's done.
Okay.
And we still haven't did Ken talk to you about the donation we were going to give?
Oh, I have not heard anything.
Okay. Because I gave him your email for him to send the information to.
Yeah, the only
Donation
thing,
for the pollinator garden?
No, this is for the donation for Ken's environmental.
Program at the school for
Yeah.
the younger kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was for I think they were going to do a garden, right?
That's what I thought it was, a pollinator garden.
Yeah.
He's looking to get approval on a spot because they don't want it too close to
Oh,
the
okay.
entrance.
Oh, okay.
Good, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, any other questions for the treasurer? Okay, moving on. Chairperson's report. Still trying to recruit us members. I had somebody who apparently didn't come to tonight's meeting who hopefully is going to join us.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. Communications.
As I say, I got the okay letters for Anne, and she's stuck until 2031 also. And Lee, you yourself, you are stuck until 2031.
Yes.
And we finally got the resignation for Ruby and for Jordan also.
Okay.
And the other thing I did receive was early notice of a potential bridge replacement. This is for contemplating to rehabilitate or replace the Stonebridge Road Bridge over Little River in the town of Woodstock under state project number blah, blah, blah. The project would receive federal funds under the federal local bridge program administered by the Connecticut DOT. The project design is expected to begin April 2026, with the construction not likely until 2029. I do have, if there's anybody that's interested in obtaining further information or providing input, may do so by contacting the Director of Public Works, Jason Scranton, and I'll put that in the minutes. I'll put his phone number. So that's that. And
Having been under that bridge, it's still got a stone foundation. I mean, seriously, stacked stones. It's how that bridge is supported at this time.
the point,
Just
in other words, is it no good? You know,
I'm not a structural engineer. It's called Stonebridge Road, and it's because it had a stone bridge, and it's seriously
Okay,
got a
fine.
stone foundation.
well, as I said, I will put the phone number, and if you're interested in finding out anything more besides the fact that it has stones in the bridge, you can get in touch with him. The other thing I did receive was the Last Green Valley is having their annual membership meeting Saturday, May 9th. And they're asking if anybody would like to come. Of course, it's supposed to be to RSVP is today. But if anybody's interested, and again, I would suggest that because we do have funding, if anybody is interested in going to this, to kind of shore up the connection we have with them. It's $30 it's a luncheon. And as I said, let me know and we can, make the reservations for you. But,
I already signed up.
Excellent.
well, good,
Do you want my receipt?
fine.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I have a communication from the Connecticut Land Conservation Council.
Uh-huh.
So Earth Day, Wednesday, April 22nd. There's a rally at the State Capitol Building, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Already
That
gone
was-
by.
That's 2 days ago,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
crap.
that was last
Yeah.
week.
That doesn't help, does it?
No.
right.
Unfortunately, a lot of the communications seem to be very late in coming. I'm not sure why, but
Look at that. Yeah. Oh, well. Sorry, guys.
that's okay.
Okay, so moving on to, or anyone else have any communications? So, moving on to old business, Gene, DRC.
I have nothing to report. No activity.
Okay, then Crystal's not here for open space. Anything P and Z wise? I didn't see anything for us.
No.
Gene, you see, have you been to any of their meetings?
I've been to the POCD meetings, but that's a separate line item.
Okay.
You skipped over my Ag Commission.
No,
and
I
I-
did not. You're next.
I know, but what I would like to say is, depressingly so, celebrating ag is no more. The participation has been down for the last 3 years, and they want to incorporate it with the 4-H fair. And there are a lot of more restrictive things, and the people from the Ag Commission decided that there was no purpose in trying to participate, as they did away with some of the things that we had done. And so a little depressing, but there it is. As I say, they will have it will go on under the auspices of the 4-H fair. It's not going to be called a separate item anymore.
Yeah, I can, so I'm on that committee, but I haven't been going to meetings, but I do get the minutes. So the Celebrating Ag Committee has decided to join with the Wyndham County 4-H Fair. And that'll be July 25th, if anybody's interested. And I think, details will be forthcoming as far as what the plans are going to be. I think they're working on them now. So
Is-
at least it's something. I think like some key people that were sort of, you know how it can be like a group like that. There's a few people doing a lot of the work, and then a few people kind of had to step back. So I think that might be part of it.
Has anyone considered using space at the Woodstock Fair? Because the room that has the vegetables and stuff, it's been shrinking, and I could see room for some booths. I mean, it is the Woodstock Fair originally was the Ag Fair. I mean, is there anyone thought about somehow, rolling?
The original Celebrating Agriculture Day was held at the Woodstock Fair, and then Woodstock Fair said they wouldn't do it anymore, and that's when they moved to Brooklyn. And after they moved to Brooklyn, it got smaller and smaller.
No, I'm not talking about a set. I'm saying during the Woodstock Fair weekend, actually having some presence, in the barn that has all the farm stuff. Has anyone thought about that?
I didn't specifically see anything like that in the minutes, but I can double check. I think there might be some, just a little bit of because basically like Gene said, they were using the Woodstock Fair grounds, and it seemed like a minor reason that somehow they said we couldn't do it there anymore.
Right. But I bet 100 years ago, the Woodstock Fair was the ag fair, and
Yeah,
somehow they, the fair became more of a fair, and then they introduced a separate ag day.
Yeah, no, I understand. I
Yeah.
mean, if I end up being able to go, I just, because of my work, I can't
Yeah.
attend those meetings. But
Yeah, it wouldn't be this year probably, but in the future, if
I think,
because the
yeah.
the ag fair still, a lot of people liked it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just because, as I say, once it moved to Brooklyn,
Can I help?
what?
Hello?
I think it was
Ann
I
is
think it was
trying.
Siri or somebody.
No, it was Ann.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay.
Okay, well, again, as I say, this came from one of the other members on that committee, and I do think we might talk about getting into the building because there is also no charge for any of the town committees.
Oh,
So that would definitely, and now that they don't have the ducks anymore, there is more room in there,
what
yeah.
do you
Oh, yeah.
mean? What do you mean no charge for any of the town committees if they decide to have a display or something? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
none of the organizations in that building pay for space like the other vendors and stuff.
Yeah, that's different from Brooklyn Fair. The Woodstock Fair does not charge nonprofits for space in the Egg Building, but to make a commitment to man a display in the Egg Building for 4 days may be a little bit
No.
more than we can.
No, but
Yeah.
let's, we could have, just be there for Friday, and that's Woodstock Day, right? Just pick one day that
Yeah.
we have our booths.
Not sure they do that, but you could try.
Yeah, we don't,
Well, you don't have to sit there for 4 days. You
Yeah.
can just have things on display for people and to know that we're there.
right. But if we're there for Woodstock Day, that's
Oh,
very,
yeah.
community
Definitely.
oriented.
Absolutely, because as you say, people just don't realize we're there. And now that we don't have Celebrating Ag, we don't really have a venue to display.
Right. So it couldn't hurt to, if the Ag Commission could,
Yeah.
just nicely inquire.
Well, again, there's plenty of people on the Ag Commission that are involved with the Woodstock Fair
Oh, okay.
very heavily.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, and I can do it next month, but then you're on your own.
Get an offer on your house, Grace?
Huh?
Did you get an offer on your house?
I got a closing on June 8th.
Oh,
Congratulations.
So just be aware. And I will, I'll bring it up now. All of the massive amounts of stuff that was in my house and in my garage is now at town hall in the our cabinet. So be careful when you open the door, okay?
Where's the display board, Grace?
That's in the other room. There's a big room down the hall. I think it's meeting room C or something that has a lot of other town things, and that's where the big board is. But
okay. Well, let's talk about old business, then we'll talk about the
yes,
new business. So, Jim, amazing report that you
Oh, well,
did.
that was a group effort,
Holy
Jason.
cow!
Do you?
You're
I
up.
don't know. So yeah, so we did that. Jason and myself and Rebecca Hyde visited the Payne Road property conservation easement back on March 28th. So it did we put together a report. We each, had our own observations and sort of consolidated them all with some photos and all that. I don't know if we could share it if you want to do that, but it's basically the bottom line is this: the landowner there we thought has done a good job stewarding the conservation easement there. He's there we didn't see any problems. He has mowed it. I think he has let his had some cattle that it's a small number, I think like 4 or 5 that he lets graze there. But he's done a good job sort of trying to control the invasives. That was pretty much it. I guess our concern, some of the boundaries are not really well marked, so we need to go back maybe and look at that. It may not be a problem now, but he is also looking to sell the property sometime down the road. He's not sure when, but probably I wouldn't be surprised from what he said, in the next 5 or so years or so, if they change hands. So we'll want to keep an eye on that and make sure that the boundaries are, respected there for the easement.
Jim, what's the gentleman's name?
Petri, I think I want to say Dan or Don. I don't have it in front of me. Let me see.
Oh, God.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Ron.
Warren, I had.
No, I'm sorry, Ron Petro.
Yep. That's what I thought it was.
Yep. So we thought he did a good job. I don't know, Jason, if you want to add anything, but
No, it was probably best case scenario or pretty close to for what we're going to see for these.
yeah.
And he was taking the role of steward of the parcel, pretty seriously.
Oh, that's good.
It was fairly easy we walked the boundaries, but you could also, since it was mostly cleared, you could see the whole thing. So it wasn't, so that part of it made it easy.
Yeah, so I mean, if anyone wants a copy, this looks like an absolutely professional. I mean,
smoke and mirrors.
it's like
never know
He's a
you were a
lawyer.
lawyer, would you?
Well, no, no, honestly, this was like a template of the report was something I got from the UNH
Oh, good.
people.
No, we're just kidding.
We just plugged it in there.
Yeah.
But I can send it to everybody if you want. But I guess the other question I know Jason I had was about storage of this kind of material. So where do we store it?
Store what?
The report.
These reports.
The report.
Well, I mean, I could send it to Grace and she can attach it to the minutes.
Yeah.
How many pages is it?
Several pages.
So
there is actually, as I say, in the where all of our stuff is next to the cabinet, there's a file, and I mean, we can certainly put in a folder in there and house things such as this. And again, I can put it in the minutes, and then it becomes official and goes into, you have it forever. Let's put it that way. If you want.
I was just going to say we had spent money a number of years ago to buy 3-ring binders.
Yeah, they're there. Trust me.
They're in that room?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure if these are official documents and if they have to be kept in the vault. You might want to check with the town clerk about that.
Well, if I attach to the minutes, it will automatically go into the vault,
Well,
Jean.
that is
If
true.
you want to keep a paper copy, I'm saying there is a file cabinet and he can put them in there,
No,
just so they're not cluttering his house.
no, let's save a tree and, keep it on the virtual.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that, Lee. The only concern that I have about putting it in the minutes is how is it searchable? So let's say next year we want to go do the Payne District's estates again and make sure that everything still looks kosher. We want to compare versus the results of this year. How do we search the minutes?
Yeah, so there'll be a downloadable file in the minutes.
Yeah, but how do you find it?
Um,
I'll put a note on the minutes.
yeah, you just have to remember. I mean, I suppose, can we put something on our website that,
Where do the minutes go? Is there just a folder labeled, minutes, Conservation Commission minutes?
No, they're in the vault. Well, yeah, I mean, when I send out the minutes, if you notice, Christine and Joy are on there and they take a copy of it, a paper copy, and put it in the vault, in the books.
The book
That's
costs
paper.
like
The vault is
$500
paper.
a copy.
What?
Remember those books were wicked expensive?
Yes.
Okay, so just remembering that. I would still check to see with Christine if we are obliged, because this is an official document, if we're obliged to keep a copy of it in the vault. There's the upstairs vault and then there's a secondary vault in the basement. We might have to keep them in the vault, and then they'd be searchable by going to the vault to find it.
yeah, and maybe town hall has, or the selectmen have a virtual vault, and
So
we
wondering
send it.
if is there a hard drive anywhere that, where things are downloaded, stored?
Well, it could be you don't need a hard drive. Just in the cloud. There may be a Microsoft document on the cloud, something for the town hall.
I think
Yeah,
we would just need a
just
file.
wondering if the town has, if there's limited cloud storage. I know that Microsoft and those guys charge for that. Like if it was possible, if there was somewhere where there was like a physical hard drive where it could just, store for free. We're not trying to create a burden.
Well, I can check with Christine. I go in there and annoy her often enough. I can find out.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
yeah, I think as the Town Conservation Commission, they should be able to guide us in this.
Yeah. But again, kudos, Jim. That was,
yes.
If anyone wants to see an absolutely professional job, this is.
So we're gonna try to do the next one in May, the end of May 23rd or 30th. We haven't worked that out, but if anybody's interested in joining us,
okay,
let me know.
Where are you going?
It was a nice little nature walk in the morning. It was nice.
Yeah, it was. It was cold though, but not much. I haven't decided what the next one will be.
That'll probably be the easiest one you'll do.
Yeah, right.
Just so you know.
Way to start.
The easy field.
Right.
okay.
Pollinator pathway, Jean.
Well, I got a text message from Amy Monahan, who wears lots of hats in this town, but she's president of the Grange. And let's see. I have a student, one of the high schoolers from 4-H, wants to take on pollinator gardens at the Grange as her service project. And she was supposed to get in touch with me. She hasn't yet, but I just checked with Amy, and her mom's like, "Oh, I thought she got in touch with you." I haven't heard from her, but I'm going to follow up on that. I do have plants to plant in the garden this year. I've only casually looked at it. I haven't actually inspected the garden to see how it fared the winter. But I anticipate getting there before the next meeting.
Okay, any questions for Jean? And then Sustainable Connecticut, Crystal's not here, so back to Jean for the plan of open space and conservation.
Carl's also on that committee. We have wrapped up the first draft of the document. I have a digital copy of it, which I still have yet to read through, but I believe it's valid for me to share it with the group so you can read through it as well. It will be presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they'll have a chance to weigh in on what's in there. And then it will eventually go to a public hearing before the town votes to accept or ask it to be revised. So it was an interesting process. Like I said, our next meeting is coming up beginning of May, where we're going to talk about this draft that we have and submit edits. But if anybody wants to look through it, especially the parts on conservation, I encourage you to do so, and I will send an email out with that attached.
Excellent. Any questions on this for Jean? So moving on to more for Natchog River project update.
It's the Natchog River watershed. Yeah, so still planning lots of events. I hope that everybody knows about the event at Wyndham Waterworks this Saturday. And I don't know if I sent you the flyer. Did I send the flyer out?
I don't think so.
I don't have it.
Okay, I meant to send it and I didn't know if I did. So yeah, it's Saturday from 9:30 to 3. There'll be guided tours of the drinking water treatment plant, hands-on educational exhibits, lots of tables from all the local environmental organizations, a lot of them that we're partnering with for this project. There'll be a presentation that I'm doing twice, and also the tour will be twice. There's a whole schedule I can send. And it'll be family friendly activities and games. There'll be a food truck. And as the superintendent, Mike Turgeon, likes to say, the most delicious water you'll ever have is free. So we actually were able to get the current regional transportation bus to do an extra route so that folks from Willimantic can participate. And let's see, what else? Anyway, you don't have to sign up. You just show up. We're really hoping for a great turnout. So, let people know. And we're doing lots of advertising. Actually, tomorrow I'm going with our chair of the board to do a radio interview at
Winnie,
not Winnie, Willie.
Okay.
And trying to get just get out even more. And we've been doing that all along. So we're really hopeful. We're keeping our fingers crossed that the rain stays away. It might be a little chillier than it should be, but we'd be happy with that and no rain.
Okay, any questions for Maura? So moving on to new business, anyone attend any talks, meetings, or anyone aware of any educational meetings coming up?
I don't think.
Okay, so next is so if Grace, geez. So we need we have Ann's volunteered to be treasurer.
Mm-hmm.
So Grace, sometime in the next 2 months, you have to sit down with Ann and give her all the books and.
It's not a big deal. Not a big
how
deal
it's
at all.
done.
No,
We need a secretary now.
Uh-huh.
Who has secretarial skills. We need a secretary.
Why don't you explain what the secretary does? And
Try
make
the
it sound
minutes.
really exciting.
Yeah, you take the minutes.
That's all the secretary does?
Yeah, and make the agenda.
Oh, but you have to, yeah, and submit it to the town hall, right? Like,
Correct.
Yeah,
I know, not
absolutely.
everybody knows that, like, so, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, Grace
It's just
sends me,
recording what happens. Yeah.
Grace sends me the agenda. I tell her whether it needs adjustments, and then she forwards it to the town hall. But she she also goes to the town hall and, gets the communications and tells me the bylaws.
Oh, and
She's a de facto chairperson. But
I've also I go to the Ag Commission. It's really, somebody should go to that meeting, okay? Because a lot of the stuff they do impacts us. And I mean, that their meetings they're less than an hour. They're 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the third Monday, which is, generally the Monday before our meeting. But it's important, and it does, as I say, it definitely impacts us because, you get to know what's going on in the Capitol with all the bills and stuff for the farms, and you get to know whose cows have escaped and are harassing some of their neighbors. But it is helpful. And as I say, I enjoy it. And Emily, and I have no idea what her last name is, but she's on the Woodstock Fair committee. So she's really, that's the first person that comes to my mind as far as because there's no more celebrating ag. I don't want us to fade into the woodwork, seeing as we now have this lovely tablecloth that, says who we are. I'd really like to, and obviously the Woodstock Fair is where you're going to see this. There is no other avenue at this point.
I mean, we could try to consider tabling at other local events, right? If we,
Yeah,
Amy Monahan organizes a breakfast on the day of the locally owned business day, where a lot of the farms have open, tours and stuff. It's a special day. There's opportunities to. I've tabled at that event before. Laura and I have, Jordan and I have. They changed the setup, but we were down at Chase Lumber one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Grange and set up while they were having breakfast so that people can come over and talk to us about the Conservation Commission. So there's opportunity to table an event like that.
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
think there's been some chatter about, kind of a day where the town commissions all kind of show up and do an open house kind of thing at the town hall. I don't know if that's what the current status of that idea is, but I have heard it spoken of. So that might be something that we can, get out and.
Right, but that's the issue now is we need a warm body on the Ag Commission, and two, more importantly, we need somebody to take over for Grace as secretary. So are there any volunteers today, or do people, but by next month we need someone to take over for Grace?
Well, as I say, it's not as big of an issue now that we're doing everything on Zoom. Even I'll go back and it's like, I can't remember what was said, but I can replay it. So it's not, death defying unless I'm just spacing out, making mistakes, but it's not that hard to do. I promise.
So you're
And
not gonna,
normally,
you're not
nor-
gonna be here next month, Grace?
yes, I will. Next month, I'll still be here. Because
Or
it's,
last month is next month.
yes,
So we got time.
yes.
Right. Well, I'm saying if there's
Well,
volunteers today, we need someone to step forward a month from now.
yeah,
So we next month's meeting will go on ad infinitum until someone steps forward.
it's true. Basically, I was talking to Crystal, which we all know Crystal had a major, what did she have? A brown concussion, and she's still not back. Okay. As I say, she's been very, very good at keeping us going, but you're right. I mean, somebody's got to be able to sit there and type it up, Anyway, so it's one more month. I promise, I think, well, as I say, God only knows if the closing comes off. But, that's another story.
Okay. So next, Carl, do you have any questions for us about what we do or?
And did we scare you off? No.
No, he's still there.
No, I mean, the Zoom capability is nice. I'm sitting here in my office, and it's so no, I don't have any real questions. I guess the one thing is, for those like Jean, I think she's been on since she was 5 years old or something like that. At least that's what she's told me. I guess the question I would have is how much impact do you believe that you've had over, say, the last 5 to 10 years? Do you feel like you're making a difference? I guess that's the question.
Yes. The answer is absolutely, without a doubt. We've, by, for our one of our primary roles is reviewing subdivisions and giving input. We've been invaluable in that. We're the stewardship, looking over land, town easements, giving our help, in all different town projects. And then if you have a pet project through the years, like Jean's doing pollinator pathway project, which is, big thing. We give opinions on the town investing in open space. Boy, I mean, I've been on the commission not as long as Jean, but probably 20 years.
Wow.
There was a project. We got solar power. When you see solar panels out there, the Conservation Commission is the one that got the ball rolling with that. The trail management. We oversee, the town trails and, recreational things.
Yeah, out of curiosity, did you have any input on the towers that are being installed at Chase and the Christmas barn?
Yeah, we reviewed the site, and yes, we gave our opinions on the environmental.
Did you approve or not approve?
Well, we can't. I mean, we're not regulatory. We just.
I should say, did you recommend? Did you agree or disagree? I'm just curious.
We don't agree or disagree. We just give recommendation because we have no power to say no.
Right.
We
just
you have
the ability to say, hey, we don't think this is a good idea, or we think it's a good idea, right?
no, we say, you know, to minimize the, you know, the impact on the view, and to minimize any effect on the trees, and we just
Bald
we
eagle nests. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did submit some very complex, Lori Barefoot wrote them, notes on our discussion about those two cell towers, and we submitted them to the siting council. It was also read by the land use office, and well, they also don't have any ability to approve or disapprove, but we did find some things that were in error in their applications, and we made sure that those were pointed out.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it because,
Yeah.
as Gene knows, those two towers have been kind of my pet project, and not particularly favorably. So we're just FYI, we're now have a NEPA case, an environmental review with the FCC, and you know, CSC is just a, you know, rubber stamp for, you know, the telecom. So they're really not taking a look at the things that you pointed out. They don't really care. That's been their history.
Mm.
Yeah. We also, last year, we kind of stood up to Eversource, who wanted to like cull all the trees on our roads, and we had meetings virtually with them, and we really, you know, made sure that they didn't, you know, absolutely, you know, ruin our
Totally destroy.
yeah, you know,
I mean,
we're the ones who did it, who got
yeah,
them,
thank you.
got rid
By
of
the
it.
way, I'm not local. I grew up in Indiana. I've lived all over the country and the world, but the thing that I really do appreciate is being able to drive on some of these little, you know, 2-lane highways that got trees, you know, beautifully just landscape with the stone walls. So thank you for saving those trees. They're an important part of our environment.
Yeah. So you know, we have our regulatory role, you know, based on, you know, the town structure, governmental structure, but then we also have, you know, all these like pet projects that different members want to do, and you know, we're there to support you know, ideas like that.
Yeah. Okay. I thank you. I just, you know, I guess compared to everybody on this board, I'm probably a newbie. I've lived here now going on over 6 years in the area, including a little bit of time waiting for the house to be built. But you know, I having lived in the DC metro for nearly 3 decades, I so much want the quiet corner to remain quiet.
There you go. And
So-
our little logo is trying to keep the woods in Woodstock.
Yeah, I like that. I might borrow that from you, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
borrowed it from a student who wrote an essay about the value of open space back before I joined the Conservation Commission. There was an essay contest sponsored by the Woodstock Open Space Preservation Group, which was a grassroots movement that really had the biggest impact in this town on conservation. There was a lot of people who got very upset about one particular parcel of land that a farmer had promised that he'd let them know in advance if he was ever going to sell it. And he gave a 1-day notice, and they had no way to raise the money to do a counter offer. So they were like, we need to have some kind of a mechanism that we have some funds. We need an open space committee. We need people on our boards and commissions that understand the value of open space and conservation. And that particular group split off to make, 2 of us joined conservation, a couple joined wetlands, a couple joined planning and zoning. I mean, like, we really became active, and then that group dissolved. But that's why we have an open space preservation commission from that. And so, there's a lot of people who are really fighting long and hard, but it's been 28 years since we started doing this. So before that, it was like, no one can imagine that Woodstock could get overdeveloped.
Yeah, when I joined, I was told, and this is true. We're the yin to the builder's yang. We balance. We're the balance, the counter.
It's good because they would build without restraint.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Well,
so anyway, but we can't. Unfortunately, like Grace moved. We had Lori Barefoot moved. I mean, we probably had Jordan aged out.
Why would anybody move from this beautiful location?
Yeah, Grace, tell us.
Well, life happens. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did come up here 20 years ago, and it was like, this is cool. I can get away from people. I can do these things. But unfortunately, as I said, life happens, and it's just not feasible anymore. I need to be where my only remaining family is. And
well, that's a good reason. In fact, that's why we moved here. Is my daughter got married to a Eastford, Connecticut Yankee, and so we said, well, we want to be with family, and now we have 3 grandchildren here, and another daughter moved here. So and she's getting married to he's Massachusetts, but they're moving.
You can't have it all,
Close enough, yeah. Close enough versus India.
So anyway, the bottom line is we're one of the important committees that keeps Woodstock, but we can't do it without volunteers. So hopefully you'll.
Yeah, I'll put my head in as a volunteer and be a part of your guest organization and see if I can't. And Jean knows that I'm not always quiet.
No, well, that's good.
Oh, we don't have anybody like that on our committee.
No.
Yeah.
So let's move on to open discussion. So actually, Carl, anything else to add? We'll give you the first open discussion.
Yeah, right.
I just think what the Conservation Committee does ought to be one of the most important things, because conserving our resources and keeping Woodstock beautiful and not becoming a drag strip full of buildings that don't seem to fit together. I mean, if Woodstock had been built up 100+ years ago, like Putnam and some of these other little towns, it'd be different. But it does not have that character, and it's just impossible to develop that in Woodstock. So it's important that we are the yin and the yang, or whatever that was. So anyhow, thank you for allowing me to have a few moments.
No,
thanks. Okay, Jean, anything for the group?
I don't have anything to add tonight.
Okay, Anne, any comments?
No.
Okay, Jim.
Nope, nothing.
Maura.
Well, I don't know if it needs to be maybe an agenda item for next month, but maybe just to see if this group is willing to support me. I think I mentioned last year I went to the Inland Wetlands Commission to talk about Taylor Road and all of the runoff issues into vernal pools, and the road is eroding, so it's a dirt road. And things were talked about, that they were going to look at things, and the solutions were to dig these huge pits on the sides of the road where the runoff would go into. And it's kind of worked. It did keep sediment out of one of the vernal pools, but they're actually starting to fill in, even though they're like extremely deep, which eventually, they keep putting dirt on the roads and it keeps washing off. So eventually those will fill in. So I don't consider that a great solution. And this is all understanding that, they don't have a lot of funding and time, and I understand that, but it's just discouraging to me to see this happening. And it's the structure of the road that's getting really affected at one point, where the stream is piped under the road. Now there's a big gully, so it's starting to undermine the actual piping. So I've taken some pictures again. And, I did try in my position at Eastern Connecticut Conservation District to write them a grant to try to do some analysis on best management practices, on ways that they could maybe address this that weren't so costly as all the engineering can be. So more like green infrastructure. And that did not, that eventually, in the end, seemed very positive until the finance department got involved. And really, I wasn't asking them for any money. I was asking for a little bit of DPW's time. So anyway, it did not happen. And so that was discouraging. So I feel like, I went as myself, as a citizen of Woodstock, when I think they knew that I was on the Conservation Commission, but I wonder if to have the backing of the commission, because we can't allow wetlands to get filled in, and I know that's in the wetlands, but it's like, if they're not really doing much about it, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll put it, here's an example of what we do, Carl. So let's put it on the agenda for next month, and we'll make it a monthly
And
until it's resolved.
I also live on a dirt road, and there are other complications because they did put the huge trenches on my road. Well, actually, only half the road is dirt, but there are restrictions as to what they can do on a dirt road, on a historic dirt road. And Taylor, I believe your Taylor Road is one of them, is it not?
Well, there really isn't, I understand that. That doesn't mean they can't fix issues. That's more like they can't cut down trees and change if you have structural issues in a road, that's like, you got to address that. That's safety as well as impact.
Okay.
You know,
I know, but as I say, unfortunately, it's a little bit more complicated because you get into what they can and can't do on a dirt road. And the public is surprisingly split on those ideas. When they we had somebody on this road was trying to get the whole road paved, and some of my neighbors got a little bit more than vocal about it because they didn't want it. And as I say, there are a couple of different issues involved there rather than just the trenches. And as I said, I've got all the things you're talking about are happening on this part of the dirt road here.
Right. It's a Clean Water Act violation is what it comes down to. And I didn't, I tried to work with the town so that I wasn't like, look, you're literally you're not following the laws of the state of Connecticut. It's just, I'm getting frustrated. You can tell. I'm going to be very, I'm not going to approach it like that. But like, again, I just feel like I've been trying to work with them for, quite a long time, and it just feels very frustrating. And
Trust me, I know.
Okay.
I hate to put a cog in the wheel here, but it's not going to be a simple task because you have state mandates, but you also have all these impositions from the town. And again, as I say, it's a historic dirt road. We don't want to do anything that'll, change it. And it's like, excuse me, the fact that literally, of course, I'm giving my age away at this point, but flooding back in, what was it, 55? You couldn't pass the road because the water came up over it. The stream that was under the road, yeah, it came up over the road. And I remember my father walking out on the road to see if it was, I don't know what he thought he was doing, but again, it's a very complicated, I understand your frustration, but
Well, let's put it on the agenda for next.
okay.
If there's anything our commission can do, we'll try to do that.
thank you.
Jason, anything from you?
Nope, nothing to add.
Okay. So, once again, I ask that people step forward to fill in Grace's shoes, which were nearly impossible to fill. And then
I'm sorry.
For such a small woman, such big shoes.
And then if anyone knows anyone, we need, the more people on the commission, the more effective we're going to be. So, any other, anything else for the good of the order?
Well, on that note, Carl, are you willing to go to the town and, fill out an application? Because you have to be accepted by the selectmen.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
I assume it's just a generic form that.
Yes.
I think I
Yeah.
did one to get on the POCD.
Yeah, there you go. Same thing.
You might be able to download it off the town website.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a
Second,
second? We got a second. Okay.
Who did the second?
Jean,
So thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see you all next month.
Great.
Okie dokie.
Sure.
All right.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye bye.